Welcome back to Connections with BC. We are so glad to have you with us today. In this episode, we're going to explore some of the foundational scriptures that will guide us as we begin to consider some popular cultural messages and myths on dating, relationships, and connection. And if you're accessing this through social, please consider showing you value this conversation by liking or subscribing. There are 4 scriptures that guide these discussions. And today we'll use the NIV, but you can use the translation of your choice. So we'll go back to the Hebrew and the Greek, regardless of the version of the text, so you can use whatever text you like. There are great resources online, and we'll attach some notes for you to check out at the end of this session. Begin in 2 Corinthians 10:5, which says, "We demolish arguments and every pretense that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. And we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ." So you could think of this as like a how-to, giving us a condensed way to treat messages that are in our culture, and even messages that we deal with internally, like our thoughts. So let's set the scene. Corinth was a large trade city, and Paul was writing to the culturally blended church in Corinth. They shared a concern for outward appearance or public image, and this was the noise that Paul was speaking into. In summary, verses 1 through 3, Paul has explained that he's not coming into this conversation as a great speaker. His confidence or his boldness comes from God, and he points out that even though we are human and our experience is human and physical, we are in a spiritual conflict. So then in verse 4, he tells us more about the conflict. He says that we have tools and that we would not approach this conflict from the perspective of the physical realm, and that these tools are actually spiritual. So now let's break out verse 5 into 2 parts. In the first part, the concept of arguments and pretenses, and then there's the concept of the knowledge of God. So arguments, pretense, and knowledge of God. Arguments are the intellectual constructs, the reasoning, the speculation, the things mankind says or thinks. It's all of the cultural messages and all of our internal narratives, our reasoning and thoughts. Pretense can be similar to an argument, but it also suggests that without merit, it seeks to put itself higher. So a facade or a masquerade, putting on a face. And the knowledge of God sits as the highest standard to compare against. It speaks truth to every argument or pretense. In this first part, there's a bit of instruction, and it's telling us to bring down, or a better word might be demolish or dismantle, anything that's putting itself higher than the knowledge of Christ. And the knowledge of Christ is an important pause point, so we'll put a pin in that and we'll come back to it. So now let's go to the second part of that verse, and it deals with thoughts. So this is specifically as we hear messages and then we have thoughts. And it tells us that these should be obedient to Christ. And it tells us to take captive. And so what we see is there's an implication in the Greek when they use this word obedience, and that implication is to make it listen. So we're going to speak the knowledge of Christ to these thoughts or messages. We're going to put these thoughts or imaginations or messages, we're going to put them in their place in the hierarchy, which is lower, and then we're going to tell them the truth of the knowledge of Christ. Number 1, we're recognizing the cultural messages and influence. So argument, reasoning, pretense, even our thoughts. Number 2, we're testing them against the knowledge of Christ. We do this to identify strongholds that should be dismantled. Number 3, we then take captive those messages that don't measure up, and we put them lower in the hierarchy. Number 4, we tell them the truth, which is the knowledge of God. Join us next time when we'll explore the knowledge of God, what it is, how it works, and what this means for cultural messages. You won't want to miss it.